Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 2023 Iowa Girls State Soccer Tournament. It's Class 1A action here this morning from the County Sports Complex. Blake Walker, Hunter Phillips with you here this morning. A little bit of technical difficulties to start this morning. Wi-Fi and whatnot not being very cooperative. Right now we're just audio only here, but we're here on the field number 7 here. There's 36-12 to go. This is the Van Meter Bulldogs, the 6th seed, taking on the Assumption Knights of Davenport. Assumption 13-4, Van Meter 12-3. They're just kind of sitting in the middle of the field here, going back and forth. Hunter, a very highly anticipated match. Van Meter obviously hasn't had a soccer program for very long. Assumption has won 5 out of the last 6 championships. A loss to Des Moines Christian last year broke that streak, but the Knights seem hungry to try to take it back and maybe win 6 out of 7.
Yeah, I mean, I think that certainly is added to the motivational factor, which if you want to motivate a program like Davenport Assumption, I mean, that's going to make things very difficult for the rest of the field. But no doubt, I think the 3 versus 6 matchups, no matter the class here this year, Blake, is really intriguing. I mean, you talked about Van Meter and how new of a program they are, but they're a tight-knit unit, great multi-sport athletes. A number of their players won the track and field championship. But you look at Assumption, and they just have the pedigree. That they know what it takes to not only get here to state, but to thrive here. So what we've seen so far, just a little back and forth, that feeling out process, just to kind of give a lay of the land here. It is a little bit humid after, the rain that we had here last night. The fields are still a little bit wet, but not as much of a breeze as we had yesterday. But all in all, it's going to be a fun morning to watch these two duke it out.
Assumption has it here from where we're looking to the west. They have it here on our left side, so going to the south. They're currently inside Van Meter territory, and the Bulldogs take it away over on the far touch line. They're going to come racing down this way. Record this season, Van Meter 12-3 on the year. One of those losses, including for Van Meter, goes to Des Moines Christian, obviously the 1 seed here in this bracket. Winner of today's game gets the winner of Nevada and Bishop Heelan, and I believe Bishop Heelan is on top of Nevada 1-0. That game started over at about 10:30, 10:15. Going to get a foul call here in the center of the field. That's going to be a free kick coming for Van Meter. And it looks like it's going to be Hallie Levi will be the one to kick here just inside the center circle with 33-37 to go. Kick is on the way by Levi. That one's going to go high and wide to the left. It's going to roll out of the back of the goal, or out of the back of the touchline. It'll be a goal kick upcoming for Davenport Assumption. Madeline Nidji is the goalkeeper for Davenport Assumption. 69 saves this season, 83% save percentage. Here comes Van Meter. The Bulldogs trying to...
Well, and she's the marquee player to keep an eye on today for Blake is Eden Moore, 4th in Class 1A in goals with 36. And just with that powerful strike with her left foot, I mean, you can tell that she is certainly someone confident with her range as someone who is an attacking forward. And so now we'll have a throw in here for Van Meter right near the midfield line as, again, we have 32-30 remaining here, just getting underway here in this opening half. No score.
No score here. Again, just audio only, trying to get our cameras and stuff set up. We had a couple technical difficulties to start, but this is Van Meter and Assumption. They're going at it here in the center of the field. Katie Lindsay with it there for a second. The standout kicker for the Van Meter football team. She's a heck of a soccer player as well. This one's in the middle of the field, picked up by Grace Garrison, and Garrison kicks it to the goal, but it's caught up by Nidji. And Nidji, who on a 75-degree day that'll only get hotter and the humidity is crazy, she's out. Both goalies, obviously, long sleeves and long pants. Like you said, Hunter, the humidity will be a big factor. We expect a hydration break at the 20-minute mark of this half. 31:45 to go here in the first half. And we're going to have a stoppage, and another free kick is upcoming for Van Meter.
Well, and Van Meter certainly has been the aggressor here to start, the opening 10 minutes, just in how they've been able to really approach the passing patterns of Davenport Assumption. They've been really comfortable.
Long kick tried by Levi, and it drops right into Nidji's hands, right in front of the goal. So a couple shot on goal attempts by Van Meter won't go. And then Knights kick it right back the other way. It's caught at midfield. Assumption trying to get it up that far touch line. Picked up on the far side by Menke. And Menke goes to the center. Drew Dorsey, one name that we haven't called yet, but she's going to be a big factor. The leading scorer for the Assumption Knights, just a sophomore. We saw her shine last year, Hunter, as a freshman.
Just so many familiar names when you look at Davenport Assumption, not just in soccer, but you can also make the case for softball, tremendous softball program, and then volleyball as well. But now here the Knights are on the move trying to counter, and ball remaining loose.
Dorsey with the big collision. They go to this near side. Ella Rolfstad, gets it caught up, and Van Meter's going to try to take it back the other way, but it's recovered by Ella Curo. Now the Knights showing offense here in Van Meter possession. They try to center to the middle and thought about a trip. I thought Ella Rolfstad thought she had a trip. She did not. Van Meter will come back the other way, still working their way, trying to get to the midfield line. Nice back and forth upfield. This is Mary Kelly. She'll kick it up the near touch line. And now a race for the ball down the right field line. Eden Moore going up against Piper Seberg, and Seberg gets the best of her. Lindsay there to recover. Field line, and here comes Assumption trying to work their way back upfield.
Yeah, both teams really just testing themselves here early, and not a lot of familiarity, obviously, between these two programs. So, that feeling out process and then having to adjust and, what formation is going to work, always a key item as it's a throw-in from the far touchline for Davenport Assumption.
We talked experience, champions 5 out of the last 6 years. This is their 16th straight state tournament appearance for Assumption. They've won 11 state titles total. That is a state record in girls soccer. So, no, it's not a unnormal trip here to the state tournament for Assumption. They make it normal. Van Meter kicks that one out. Assumption has it past the midline. And now they'll go to the corner to Rolfstad. She's here. They go back to the center. Dorsey was there for a second. Assumption on the far touchline. That one's going to be cleared out by, I believe, Katie Lindsay over there on that far side. Can't quite tell. That's 20. Nope, can't tell. Bella Bruins, possibly. It's a throw-in on the far touchline for Assumption. Natalie Bond. Throw in. Van Meter clears it all the way down the far touchline. It gets past the midfield line. And Assumption tries to clear, and that one stays in bounds. From our vantage point, we're right here on the field at the center line. The field is kind of on a hill, if you will, just a little bit of a hill, so if it goes out on the far touchline, we can't really see it. That, though, is out, and Van Meter will get a throw-in near that far corner in Van Meter territory. Long kick to the goal, and it's picked up by the goalkeeper for Van Meter. And that is, I believe, Reagan Bernhardt in the goal for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, she's done the majority of the work for the Bulldogs this year, 50 saves, 3. Bernhardt has really gained the trust of the coaching staff for Van Meter and will have a tough task ahead of her against a very opportunistic Davenport Assumption team who's throwing it in here on the near touch line.
Belle Lanigan was the one to throw in. It's in the center of the field. Van Meter has possession. They'll go back and forth. Assumption takes it right back in Van Meter territory. Knights get it upfield. A little bit of collision back and forth by both teams. It's definitely a physical game so far. You expect that out of a team with both these teams' 2 calibers. Davenport Assumption obviously out on the far eastern side of the state. Definitely not an easy drive down here to the County Sports Complex here in the capital city of Iowa. Van Meter just to the west of Des Moines. That one kicked out in front of the goal. Dorsey is double teamed. She'll get it up this near touch line. Van Meter's there to recover. Menke there. A strong fight by Mary Kelly to try to get it back. She's a 1-on-2 Army, and it's cleared out by Katie Lindsay.
Got to be impressed with Mary Kelly and how she has come out and really set the tone and trying to disrupt any kind of movement that Assumption has wanted to make so far.
Lindsay's kick to clear went all the way back to the goalkeeper, Niji. And Assumption was able to clear it back out. Now Van Meter starting to fall in their possession here. Assumption has it with Van Meter on Van Meter's side. The Bulldogs try to run with it. Katie Vaught and company over there on that far touchline. They'll kick it right back to the middle. And Macy Rinslinger, she's there to recover on the back line for the Knights. Back and forth we go, 25-15 to go here in the first half. Davenport, Assumption, and Van Meter. Assumption, the 3 seed, Van Meter, the 6 seed. Niji comes up out of the goal to make the stop, as that one was bouncing around for a little bit.
Again, we've really seen both teams, sorry Blake, to really just trade the possessions here early. Van Meter really with the only opportunities near the net, including here from Mary Kelly.
Mary Kelly, like you said, she's been everywhere so far. There's a long kick high and wide to the right by Katie Vaught. And with 25-35 to go, it'll be a goal kick here for Assumption. 75 degrees currently. Wind is definitely a breeze that could be effective here, especially if you get a corner kick this afternoon. That'll again just have to wait and see as they move along here.
Yeah, you know, the wind gradually picked up yesterday, beginning in the early morning, and of course for the boys tournament, and then really got stronger throughout the course of the day, and probably going to see the same today. And like we saw yesterday, coming out of the south, and so Van Meter is the team with the wind to their back, and see if they use that to their favor, especially on really long free kicks. Saw that really play a role in yesterday's games, and so wouldn't be surprised, again, if that wind can play a factor in some of those set pieces.
23-42 to go here in the first half. Van Meter has it at the center line. They'll kick it down into Assumption's territory, and it'll roll out, and the Knights will throw in their own territory. Couple substitutions, all substitutions at the state tournament, brought to you by IMT Insurance. Learn how you can be worry-free with IMT at imtins.com.
I have a feeling that both of these coaching staffs are going to be going to their bench often just to make sure that they get their players some rest, be able to hydrate, and get the fresh legs in there when needed.
And in soccer, you play a lot of the season, if you will, in terms of the weather. Like when we start at the beginning of March and into April, the weather can be really cool. It could rain. And then you get to the state tournament, and usually it's about 85 to 90 degrees. So the weather shifts a lot. You got to be ready for all temperatures. Mary Kelly has it here on the near side. She's going to try to clear all the way upfield. Van Meter's going to try to get there. Niji grabs it just before Eden Moore, the junior, got there. And it's a lucky stop for Assumption, and Niji will kick it back to the center line.
Well, Mary Kelly, she does such a great job of facilitating. 14 assists. That was a beautiful ball forward. Now she's communicating here as they go into Davenport Assumption's half.
Kelly up the near side for Grace Garrison. Garrison in a shoving match with the captain, Olivia Holsbrink of Assumption, and Holsbrink hits the ground, and Van Meter will throw in Assumption territory. Picked up by Levi. Levi goes to the far center. There was a Bulldog waiting there, but Assumption jumps in front of it thanks to Emil Yeats. Nobody's gotten a real advantage. Both teams have gotten decent shot on goals, but nothing like crazy. No crazy saves so far by either goalie.
No, it's just been a really steady pace here to start, and I think that's what, you know, you want to try to dictate here early. You know, you want to be able to try to set the tone, but also just be very methodical And so I think both teams have just been, I mean, you could tell that they're both well coached. I mean, we haven't seen any kind of errors in terms of passes at all. Both teams have come out here very solidly, and you always wonder about that too, Blake. You know, you're here on the big stage, you're here at State. Obviously, Davenport Assumption knows how to get what it takes to get here, but still, you know, got to get those first game butterflies out of the way.
Olivia Halfpap has it here. It's going to go to the far corner. Assumption clears. They're in Assumption territory. They were headed toward a Kruger Seeds corner kick, and instead we're going to have a throw in or a foul. Looks like it's just going to be a it's going to be a foul. So free kick upcoming for Assumption all the way on the far touchline in their own territory, all the way up against the touchline. And this one's going to be cleared out all the way down the pitch. Lauren Wallace, one of the defenders for Van Meter, went back to get it. Assumption gets a throw in and now heads to the center of the field, and Katie Lindsay will kick it upfield toward us on the near touchline. Ripslinger had it for a second, right along the touchline. Ripslinger knocks it high and downfield. Couple headers, and it's knocked out, and they'll give it back to Assumption. Cameron Menke will be the one to throw in here. They're at the far corner, and this one's going to roll out to the back, and it should be a goal kick here for Van Meter, but not before we get a quick hydration break. And we'll let that one play out as Hunter and I will step aside for a quick second. We'll be right back with more soccer. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Soccer Tournament presented by the Iowa Farm Bureau on the Girls Union Digital Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
Obsessively, relentlessly at your service. To me, it means being there 24/7, rain or shine, during storms, after storms.
Being a first responder to the community, to my customers.
Being there to get the customers back on and to see the smiles on their face.
To provide the kind of reliability that we can hold our heads high about.
And we want to keep our customers safe. Safety's first around here.
And that's rewarding.
Hello. I'm Brent Johnson, an Iowa farmer from Calhoun County and president of the Iowa Farm Bureau. As proud title sponsor of the state soccer tournament, the Iowa Farm Bureau is dedicated to creating a vibrant future for Iowa through partnerships and programs that help cultivate individuals with great achievement. The Iowa Farm Bureau provides commemorative soccer balls for each team competing in the state tournament. These keepsakes are a great way for these athletes to remember their experience here, as well as the teammates, coaches, parents, teachers, and mentors who've all played an important role in their journey. So, from the Iowa Farm Bureau, congratulations to all the players and coaches on an outstanding season, and good luck in the tournament.
Welcome back to the Iowa Girls State Soccer Tournament. Blake Walker, Hunter Phillips with you here this morning from the County Sports Complex here in the capital city of Des Moines. Hunter, we are currently 19:41 to go here in the first half. Again, no visuals here so far, just audio. We're still trying to get that audio or the camera side figured out, but you can hear us. Hunter, it's been very back and forth so far. Couple good shot on goal chances, but again, nothing that's been major. I'm honestly pretty impressed by Van Meter so far.
Yeah, I am too, and you can tell that they just came in and they knew what the game plan was, just to stick to what they do best. And you know, they're running things through Mary Kelly, who has just been such a dynamic player throughout the course of the season. Just her versatility of playing, you know, in the midfield spot and also coming up as a forward as well. But then, you know, Davenport Assumption, to their credit, I mean, they have hung very tough, and I think that they've kind of weathered what Van Meter has thrown at them, and they've also have tried to create corner kick opportunities. They're trying to get into Van Meter's defense, but two teams that are really solid. well coached. I mean, this is what you certainly want to see when you get to this level. And so, again, hydration break obviously very critical here as the temperatures are only going to continue to rise. No score, but it's one of those. I think it's going to be one of those matches where it's going to come down to who can get that set piece and who can really take advantage of a play like that in the moment. We'll find out, but we'll be playing on Van Meter's half here, and I believe it will be with Davenport Assumption. Just trying to see from our vantage point, but yeah, just really impressed with what these two teams have been able to show here in the first 20 minutes.
Well, after the quick hydration break, we are off and running. It came out of a goal kick here by Van Meter, and the Bulldogs will bring it back here to the center line. Assumption, though, jumps right in front of it. Again, both teams, couple solid shot on goal attempts, haven't been able to do much. That one's cleared high in the air by Natalie Bonds, and it'll go out, and Van Meter will throw in on the far touchline. Centered in the middle by Paige Garrison. Van Meter. Here come the Bulldogs. Eden Moore kicks it ahead. Here comes a race against time against Olivia Halfpap. Halfpap is there on the far touchline. Cannot get there. But Van Meter will throw it in after Assumption got a leg in there real quick. Halfpap and company back and forth on the near or far touchline, and Assumption takes it away, and they're going to come racing back down the middle. Led by Olivia Holzbrink, the captain. Defender Lauren Wallace in there for Van Meter to get it out of the way. Definitely feels like no real advantage so far for either team. Couple substitutions, like you said, keeping fresh legs out there. Hunter for hydration. All substitutions brought to you by IMT Insurance. Learn how you can be worry-free with IMT at imtins.com.
Well, and Blake, the other unique thing about having a hydration break, you don't always get those, is the fact that it allows you to be able to regroup, and as a staff, you can be able to tell your team, this is what we saw, this is what's working, what's not working. You can make sort of the adjustments before you eventually go into half. So that always adds an extra layer for both of these teams.
Pretty much a free timeout, if you will. Mary Kelly has it here at the center line. She's jumped up against Holzbrink. Holzbrink and Kelly battled for it, and Van Meter clears up ahead to the center line. Yeats is there, and Van Meter recovers it back with Grace Garrison. Long kick up ahead by Yeats, and it'll be hopped on top of by the goalie for Van Meter as that one slowly rolled into Reagan Bernhardt's lap. Bernhardt 82% save percentage this season. 50 saves total coming into today. Van Meter starting to push here on Assumption's side. Kelly goes right back to the center to Lindsay. Kotula and company for Assumption there. Already seeing hands on knees, Hunter, and that's one thing we talk about heat, but we hate to beat the dead horse, but the heat is going to be an issue today. And if anything, you're almost lucky you get to start in the morning.
Yeah, certainly, because as everyone knows, it's just going to continue to get hotter. And so, certainly for the coaches, they got to be able to keep an eye on their players to make sure that they're, feeling at their best.
Mary Kelly kicks up ahead. Eden Moore will run after it, and Niji slides on the grass to get in front of it. I tell you what, Eden Moore has been set up really nicely here the first couple 15, 20, 25 minutes here. I like this combination between Mary Kelly and Eden Moore here on our near touchline.
Well, and you can tell that they're clearly on the same page, and Kelly being a senior just has that extra leadership role, but Eden's really taken a whole other level to her game. Again, 36 goals, 109 shots. She's someone that gets in the position, and it's always nice when you have teammates that can be able to find you there up the field.
It's going to be Assumption ball on the far near touchline, just about probably about 10, 15 yards away from that far corner flagpole for Assumption. They'll throw in. Drew Dorsey and company are over there, but it's cleared out by Van Meter. Coming back to clean it up is Holzbrink. Holzbrink tries to center. And Assumption trying to recover it as Van Meter's tried to get it back. Tough fight here between Moore and company. Kelly kicks it ahead to the center line, going back toward Assumption's goal. Assumption's defenders are there, and it's cleared out by Bonds. Back and forth action here. Catula working her way up the near touchline. Catula runs the line. Cuts it right back inside. She'll center to the middle. Drew Dorsey is there. Dorsey to the far line. Recovered by Tolley. And Tolley fires and misses way wide to the right. But that was one of the best offensive possessions we've seen from Assumption so far.
It really was, and how they were able to work from the near side over to the far side, right along that 12-yard box. Just trying to keep Reagan Bernhardt honest there as a keeper. Just really trying to keep her on her toes. But I tell you, going to Davenport Assumption, Blake, Annika Catula, I mean, how many times have we seen her and called her name over the years? I mean, she has just been a constant presence here for the soccer program, and she was one that helped set up that play moments ago.
Drew Dorsey had it in the center and tried to turn on it and shoot, but misses to the right, and it falls out of the back of the line. And Bernhardt will be the one to take it out once again and clears it to the center line. And now past the center line. 13:40 to go here in the first half. Van Meter and Assumption still knotted at 0 apiece. The Bulldogs starting to get a run out here on the far touchline. It's knocked out last second by Natalie Bonds. Called Bonds' name a couple times here this first half. She's been busy. Van Meter will throw in on the far touchline.
Well, the first time we really saw Van Meter really try to attack Davenport Assumption along that far flank there. And so see if maybe they found a little bit more success there.
Halfpap and Maddie Tolley both fighting each other on the far touchline. It's knocked out once again. Van Meter gets the throw in. There's a lot of traffic over there on the far touchline. Assumption clears. Threat avoided. Ella Carreau down the far touchline. She starts racing upfield, and it's knocked out last second by Claire Kelly of Van Meter to stop the barrage. And they'll come racing back. Flag out again. It'll be Assumption ball. Anything to prolong the runaways down the field. That's what Van Meter's trying to do. Katie Lindsay clears that one out, and that will roll out, and Assumption just keeps slowly but surely moving down the field thanks to throw-ins. Dorsey, center, shot on goal, misses as it's picked up by Bernhardt. Fell right into her lap, just past the goalpost.
But you're getting the sense that Davenport Assumption's getting more and more comfortable out here later in the half.
Kelly centers to Moore. Moore within one of two defenders. She gets it ahead. Moore races to the corner, and a tough slide tackle for Natalie Bonds. Mary Kelly turns and fires and misses. Falls right into the lap of Niji. And Hunter, the way the wind's working, any corner kick on this far near corner for Van Meter, that is pretty good considering how the wind faces.
Yeah, I mean, it can curl in just at the right angle, and no matter how skilled of a keeper you are, I mean, when you have that last second burst or gust of wind, it can certainly pay off for sure.
You can hear it in our mics. Wind is blowing to the north, and that's headed right toward Van Meter's goal. Free kick on the way from the center field by Levi, and it drops right into Niji's hands as she catches it coming out of the goal.
And I like that. I like that try there because, you certainly want to test, in which it's like trying to play a fly ball in the wind, and softball, just trying to test the keeper to see how she plays it and kind of have a different approach there on that long free kick.
Boy, Catula on our near side got a nice turn and kicked it all the way to the center line toward Drew Dorsey and Dorsey just missed it on a chance to turn on it. Assumption's starting to put together pretty good offensive possessions. They tried to go downfield. Eden Moore and company were there, but couldn't get it, as that one's knocked out by Piper Seaberg.
Well, and Seaberg has had the tough task here, and obviously a very good defender in her own right, but going up against Eden Moore, that's really been a fun battle to watch here in this first half, as both teams will go to their bench once more.
Another IMT insurance substitution. Learn how you can be worry-free with IMT at imtins.com. 9:52 to go here in the first half. That one's headed toward the far touchline. We're in Assumption territory. It's going to roll out of the back line, and I think we're going to get a corner kick for Van Meter, and yes, we will. So it'll be a Kruger Seeds corner kick. Next time you're in need of corn or soybean seed, give your local Kruger Seeds dealer a call. Kruger Seeds, first-class seed, first-name service. Learn more at KrugerSeed.com. All Kruger Seeds, or all corner kicks, brought to you by Kruger Seeds at this state tournament. Levi will send it from the corner. Shot on the way, and it does not get there. It hits the back of the net. Hunter, I think that wind was a little bit effective there.
It really was, and so probably tried to play it in a little bit closer to the bar, but that wind just took it to the side of the net. And so, again, that's one of those adjustments that you have to make, and you get that opportunity, the next time. You got to keep into account the wind, especially when you're along this near corner. But really the first set piece, corner kick we've seen in this first half. And so Van Meter's just continuing to put their foot on the gas here with 8.5 to go in the first half.
Eden Moore and Seaberg battling hard here in Assumption territory. Bulldogs get it down the far touchline. It's knocked out last second. Halfpap just got it caught last second. Cadence Vaught, I believe, is going to throw in on that far line. .809 to go here in the first half. No score between these two. The 3 seed and the 6 seed. Van Meter starting to run on the near line, and just getting tripped up last second was Eden Moore. Eden Moore might, if Van Meter's going to score, it's probably going to be Eden Moore to do it.
Well, she is just right on the doorstep, and she's just so dynamic in how she sees the field.
Another Kruger Seeds corner kick upcoming for Van Meter, second of the game. It's Allie Levi once again. This time she gets another chance at it, but on the opposite side. So she's on the far corner here. Gonna try for the first goal with 7:29 to go. Kick is on the way. It's gonna go long, and it's headed out by Drew Dorsey. Van Meter trying to corral it. Everybody's everywhere. It's cleared out last second by a Knight. But Mary Kelly's there to recover to keep it from going way back. But a nice job by Ella Carew. Here come the back line of Van Meter. Lauren Wallace tried to get there. Drew Dorsey racing upfield, and a tough collision between Dorsey and Lauren Wallace. And we're going to have a foul on Dorsey right in front of us. And a free kick is upcoming for Van Meter right in front of us at the near touchline at center field. Levi, free kick on the way. Bounces too far ahead of Moore for her to recover. And we're going to have a stoppage, and I think it was touched by a Bulldog. So Assumption will get the free kick and get it out of their own territory. I tell you, Hunter, tough hit. I think that's Piper Seaberg. Took a tough hit on the ball to her shoulder. She was kind of holding it. Eden Moore to the near touchline to Kelly. Kelly and Rolfstead fighting for it. Or excuse me, that was Ripslinger. It's knocked out. It'll be Van Meter ball. Couple more substitutions checking in for Van Meter with 6:07 to go here in the first half. Hunter, now the Bulldogs starting to put something together.
Yeah, I think we've really seen both teams throw their best kind of looks at one another, but really here in the last 5 minutes, it's been Van Meter who's really had a handle of the possession and have been playing really more in Assumption's half, but just like that, Assumption able to take it away. They'll throw it in.
Grace Garrison and company were there. This is going to stay right along the near touch line. It's knocked ahead by Drew Dorsey. And they're going to say it was out, I assume. I don't think it was out, but
they're going to say that just right in front of our broadcast location. That
must have just caught enough of the white chalk here. So Van Meter will throw in right in front of us. It'll be Clara Waldron. Waldron, the sophomore, with 5:11 to go. She'll throw in right in front of us to Katie Vaught. Dorsey, double team, trying to get rid of it. Mary Kelly and company right there. Somehow this thing's staying in bounds. Dorsey trying to get away, and then we got a trip, and it should be a free kick upcoming here for Assumption, and it is.
And Dorsey lost her right boot there, pink cleat, just showing how much aggression was shown between that duo of players, the 4 players there battling for the ball. And, just surprised that it was able to stay in play, but
wait for Dorsey to get her shoe on, and she does have it on, so it'll be Natalie Bonds here, still pretty much right in front of us at the center line. She'll send a kick long and high. It's going to go past behind everybody, and Bernhardt comes up and takes it. Good recovery by Reagan Bernhardt. She's going to be the one to send it back with a free kick or a long kick to clear. Kotula was right there. They center it. Race for Menke, trying to get to the corner, and that one's knocked out. Will it be a corner kick? Nope, quick throw in. That might be a corner kick, though, as that one's kicked out by Mary Kelly. Hard to see here along the touchline. Everybody's sitting here on the field. Eden Moore got it knocked around here to the center line. It's 1-on-3. And Moore is using her blazing speed down the far touchline. Can she get there before Niji does? She does not, but she takes a tough tumble to the grass as she tripped over Niji, who just got there to jump in front of it with 3:23 to go in the first half.
Well, like we talked about, she was one of those members of that relay team that won the state title and really showed off that speed right there, but also really good sportsmanship out of the keeper, Niji, to help her up. Both keepers, I think, have just done a fantastic job of just their recognition and awareness of knowing when to make their way out of the box.
We are under 3 minutes to go here in the first half of this Class 1A quarterfinal between Van Meter and Davenport Assumption. 0-0 is your score.
Yep, and again, that was Piper Seaberg right there, matched up with Eden Moore, and just a little too much hand contact there that time. Seaberg just trying to keep Moore behind her. It's been a tough task.
Assumption's free kick went to the center line. That's where they'll battle for it, right in the middle of the circle. They'll go near touchline. Mary Kelly trying to fight for it up against Ripslinger. Back to the back line of Lauren Wallace for Van Meter. And a header by Ripslinger. To the center is Careau. 1:30 to go here in the first half. Ripslinger upfield, gives it to Kotula. Kotula will race up the near touch line. She tries to center back to the middle. It bumps off the official, and we're going to have a stoppage. And Assumption should be the one with a free kick here, right where it hit the official. I'd look out here. This is a tough spot. They're kicking into the wind, but if you get enough on it, it could be a pretty dangerous free kick here. Bonds doesn't want to kick it long. She'll go center. Then she'll try a kick on her own, and the wind just did not help. It goes right and stays right. And it'll be a goal kick coming here for 48 seconds to go by Bernhardt.
Yeah, I like the idea there, and maybe it just didn't seem like a few of her teammates were maybe on the same page, but yeah, I mean, And also, too, you just got to consider the fact that, you got 30 seconds left in the half, and you're going to be switching sides of the field here once we get into the second half. So,
yeah, the wind becomes Assumption's advantage as they'll be going with the wind to the north. Right now they're going against it down to the south. 16 seconds to go. They're in Van Meter territory. Everybody's up past the midfield marker. We're going to have a stoppage and a free kick here with 7 seconds to go. Long kick, jumped in front of by Garrison. She's not going to let it go anywhere, and the horn sounds at the end of the first half. No score, 0-0. Davenport, Assumption, and Van Meter in the Class 1A quarterfinal. The 3 seed, the 6 seed are deadlocked. We will step aside, and we'll be back for more halftime coverage and talk about the first half that we've seen. Don't go away. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Soccer Tournament on the Girls Union Digital Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
Living your best life means something different to everyone, especially when it comes to healthcare. That's why Mercy One offers compassionate, personalized care. We are here for you with one team of experts providing access to the primary care and highly rated specialty care you need, easily and conveniently. So go ahead, live your best life. We're with you every step of the way. Mercy One, your best life, our one purpose.
When you choose Delta Dental of Iowa, you set a chain of good in motion because we invest in your community. So whether you get your plan at work or purchase it through us, you get more than great dental and vision insurance. You make a difference for others. Choose Delta Dental. Smile for your health and for your community.
In Iowa, we all play by the same rules. Hard work pays off, practice makes perfect, success is something you earn, and teamwork helps us all be winners. The Iowa Pork Producers Association is proud to support statewide high school athletics, because on our team and on yours, what we bring
unexpected sports mecca that feels like home. We are the big ballers, the little kickers, the underdogs, and the bulldogs. We've got events wacky and wild, big and small, we host them all. And that old sports cliche, nobody believes in us? Nah, when you come here, you'll believe. Because in Des Moines, only the S's are silent. Let's go!
Welcome back to the Iowa Girls State Soccer Tournament. Davenport, Assumption, and Van Meter knotted at 0 apiece as we have hit halftime. Pretty even first half for the most part, Hunter. I mean, we've seen a couple of solid shot on goal attempts, but nothing where the goalies have been like strained to go get it. This game has turned out very even, and both teams, again, like I said, it's pretty much even across the board.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the scoreboard doesn't lie here, but yeah, it's not like one team has had more opportunities around goal or in the penalty area than the other. It's been playing fundamentally sound soccer, and that's what you expect, when you get here. But can't say enough about Eden Moore. That's something I think Davenport Assumption is really going to have to try to key in on her, which is easier said than done because of just how quick she is. But on the other side too, I really like what Annika Katula has done, and really the toughness that Drew Dorsey's been able to bring as well. Of course, as Piper Seberg, who's had that defensive opportunity there to be able to go head to head with Eden Moore. But not many set pieces all in all. Again, just both teams, I think, just trying to, feel out one another, and it'll make for, I think, really an intriguing second half.
Yes, it should. So we are knotted at 0 apiece Davenport Assumption and Van Meter will be back in a little bit here for your second half. But for now, we'd like to take a moment to once again thank our title sponsor, Iowa Farm Bureau, for their support of the state soccer tournament. Hey, earlier this week, Aaron Kirtley of the IGHSAU had the opportunity to speak with the Iowa Farm Bureau President, Brent Johnson, to learn more about Iowa Farm Bureau's support of the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union and student athletes across the state. Take a listen.
We'd like to welcome you to the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union State Soccer Tournament. I'm Erin Kirtley with the IGHSAU. We hope you've enjoyed the first half of action here at today's match. 2023 marks the 26th year of the Iowa Girls State Soccer Tournament, and we are so thankful for all of those who support this event and help us put this on. None other than our proud title sponsor, Farm Bureau. Joining me here today is Brent Johnson, President of the Iowa Farm Bureau. So why does the Iowa Farm Bureau invest in the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union?
Well, first of all, Aaron, I want to congratulate the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union for 26 years of state soccer. That's absolutely fantastic. And for the Farm Bureau to be involved in the last 18, we couldn't be prouder to be a part of this. You know, these kids that are competing here today, they are amongst the nation's brightest and best student athletes. And just like Iowa's farmers are the best in the country at what they do, this opportunity to partner with you gives us the opportunity to celebrate both. We at Farm Bureau, we love to promote the kids, and after all, they will be someday our future leaders. And there's so many ways that we support them. You know, annually, every year, we give over $500,000 in scholarships across the entire state so that those kids continue their education. We have partnered with you and the High School Boys Association in providing concussion insurance for those kids participating in sanctioned sports. There's really only 7 states that even provide that opportunity for kids. We've helped teachers with, over the last several years, providing $450,000 in supplies for their classrooms so they can do their job. And just recently, we just gave $1 million to the Iowa FFA Foundation so they can continue to promote Iowa agriculture and tell the story as to why agriculture touches all of our lives every single day.
So the student athletes participating in this year's state tournament are taking home some awesome souvenirs. Can you tell us a little bit more about those?
Yeah, you know, the Signature Ball program has been a student favorite for years now. You know, and it's one of those mementos that those kids get to take with them. Every student participating in the tournament gets one of these signature balls that they can have their teammates, their coaches, and their mentors sign so that one day they can look back and think, you know, the hard work and dedication that they put into their sport, it earned them the right to play at this tournament, and they can remember that in this Signature Ball program.
Thanks again, Brent, and to Farm Bureau, and enjoy your second half of soccer.
Obsessively, relentlessly at your service. To me, it means being there 24/7, rain or shine, during storms, after storms.
Being a first responder to the community, to my customers.
Being there to get the customers back on and to see the smiles on their face.
To provide the kind of reliability that we can hold our heads high about.
And we want to keep our customers safe. Safety's first around here.
And that's rewarding.
Slade's the place for you! Welcome back to the Iowa Girls State Soccer Tournament. Blake Walker, Hunter Phillips with you here. Second half of action at 1:42 away from getting started here. Van Meter and Davenport Assumption knotted at 0 apiece. Audio is working, Hunter. We're on radio mode here today. Unfortunately, our camera not working here this morning. Again, we deeply apologize, but when we're out here on the field and our closest outlets are not even outlets and we're running off jackeries and everything else, it's very tough for our equipment. It's tough on our equipment. The heat is. We're hoping to possibly get it figured out here by the second game, but we don't anticipate it being fixed here for the rest of this one, so you're just going to have to listen to us. We're going to try to paint the picture the best of our abilities here, but again, we apologize deeply for the issues. But still 0-0, Davenport Assumption and Van Meter, both teams very even in the first half. If I had to give an advantage, I mean, I'd honestly say Van Meter. I think they had a couple more good offensive possessions, but Assumption really started to figure it out there in that second half.
I really
or
think
the second part of the first half.
Yeah, exactly. I think after that hydration break, I think that was a good reset button for them. Not that they, were necessarily, in and out of their patterns, out there, in their attacking third, but I think Van Meter just, again, they really seem to really just play at their pace, just play with their style. And so, yeah, I think that, now when you have, again, the wind, which is probably at about 10 miles an hour picking up, it's going to continue to pick up throughout the course of the day. Davenport Assumption will have that to their back. They're going to be going left to right just to kind of illustrate that for everyone, while Van Meter will be going right to left. And so, something's going to have to give here in this
one. This one's cleared out very last second by Ripslinger. And Van Meter will come back along this near touch line, but it's picked right back up. And now Drew Dorsey works her way upfield. She kicks it high and long, and Reagan Bernhardt of Van Meter will come way out of the goal up to this near touch line and pick it up, and she'll send it back the other way here.
Well, I love the energy that Van Meter has started off here to begin this second half.
Knights champions in 5 out of the last 6 state tournaments. Lost last year to Des Moines Christian. That streak was broken, but they had a very good class. I think that's what a lot of people forget is 5 of those years, their class, it was the whole class. They got there as freshmen, let them all the way out. Now, obviously, a couple new faces. Drew Dorsey, really the face of your team, just a sophomore, so always good to start a new streak.
I think it just says a lot about, the soccer programs, the grassroots there in Eastern Iowa there in Davenport, and just how they're able to, I think also them playing multiple sports with one another. I mean, you got to be on the same page when you're out there on the pitch. I mean, communication is oh so key as we see Van Meter crossing the halfway line into the Davenport Assumption zone.
Katie Vaught fires that one all the way to roll to the right into the box, and the goalie Niji will come and pick it up. Again, not really any. There hasn't been any diving saves. There really hasn't been anything wild in terms of saving it for both Bernhardt and Niji in the goalie position, as this one rolls all the way back down after a couple of loose kicks, and it's picked up by Bernhardt now. So now the goalies are just trading kicks.
I think really the only moment, Blake, where a goalkeeper had to get out of position was Niji when Eden Moore was on that breakaway when it was 1 versus 3, and that was when Niji said, enough's enough. I got to come up and just take the ball right out of her lane. And fortunate that she was able to do so, because otherwise Moore would have continued her way into the 12 and eventually 6-yard box. And so other than that, I mean, these keepers have have really had everything in front of them. It's probably been routine, as now we get the Knights into Bulldogs' half.
Drew Dorsey came all the way up and just tried to get there. It was Bernhardt versus Drew Dorsey, just coming out to the edge of the box, and Bernhardt slid. Dorsey tried to dive, and Dorsey flips over top of Bernhardt, and Bernhardt saves it. That could have been disastrous for Van Meter, but the Knights hold on, and Dorsey took a tough hit, jumped right back up.
Well, right on cue, that's basically the play that we saw Van Meter attempt on Assumption back in the first half, and now the Knights figuring things out here the first 5 minutes of the second half.
Rolfstad kicks it ahead. Langen's there, and it's cleared out last second by Clara Kelly. Now Assumption's starting to put stuff together. Dorsey heads it in the middle, nearing the goal of Van Meter. A turn and fire, and the kick is long, just high by Ella Carreau. She had it here kind of near the center. She turned on it, kicked it with her right leg, and Hunter, with that wind, maybe that time it cost her.
Boy, and she came up from behind just to take it, and then had a real good-looking shot from about 20 yards out. And from our vantage point, I mean, it looked like it was going to curl in, but obviously that wind certainly airmailed it over the bar. But, you talked about, having to, get those new faces in for Davenport Assumption. How about Carreau? 5 goals this season, 11 points. She's certainly been a valuable member for the Knights and just one of those players that you'll continue to hear of for several years to come.
Out of bounds on the far touchline. They'll go back and forth with it. Kelly to Garrison. Backed up and cleared out. Assumption all on their possession here as they're nearing back toward the center line. Picked up by the defender, Macy Ripslinger. And up ahead. Assumption back to the middle. Rolfstad turns. Dorsey tries to fire. It got caught last second, just barely. Tons of contact as that one's fired high in the air. It's dropped down, and Bernhardt grabs it. And I mean chaos in front of the goal. I don't know who it was for Assumption, but kicked it high in the air, and Bernhardt had to wait on it to drop into her lap. She almost dropped it, and two Assumption Knights were sitting there in front of the goal. Bernhardt drops to the ground and saves it.
Just cannot help but be impressed with Bernhardt, especially when, like you said, perfectly chaotic. You know, that is oftentimes the recipe for a goal for the opposition, but Bernhardt doing a fantastic job of staying patient, always very difficult to do in those kind of situations close to the net.
Goal kick upcoming here for Van Meter, 34-15 to go. Katie Lindsay will use her powerful leg to kick this one out. Drew Dorsey there was waiting right in the path. The wind definitely helped that one. Van Meter will get a throw in. They try to get it to the center line. It's picked up by the defender, Piper Seberg. We called her name a little bit there. It's back into Assumption or Van Meter territory, but a quick little stoppage for a couple shoving matches. And now Van Meter will get a free kick here near the center of the field, near us on the touchline.
And Blake, that's one thing. We really haven't had that many penalties. I mean, it's been physical, but, you know, both teams have been playing fairly clean.
Eden Moore had a chance to run with a runway with it, or deep in Van Meter territory, or Assumption territory. There's another push, and this time it'll be on number 10, Katie Vaught of Van Meter, and Assumption will get a free kick here in their own territory. Natalie Bonds sends it on the way. Runs all the way back to Bernhardt. She'll run out and pick it up with 33:07 to go, and she'll kick it out. Assumption holds most of the possession here this half. That one almost rolled behind the head of Lauren Wallace. She clears out, and Assumption will get a throw in here. Couple substitutions in for Assumption. Learn how you can be worry-free with IMT at imtins.com. Bernhardt dropped it, lost it over top. Assumption's got two back there. Dorsey tries to center and misses. Nobody's there. It bounced and got a high bounce just over top of Bernhardt's head near the goal. It then bounced to the right of the goal, and Dorsey just missed it trying to turn on it. Nobody was back in the middle for Assumption. That one rolls out, and it will be a goal kick upcoming. That was the best chance of the day for Assumption.
Boy, it really was, because they got Bernhardt out of position enough, and boy, if one of those two players that was there in the center could have just played up a little bit further, boy, that would have been, like you said, the best chance for a result there. But Van Meter kind of breathing with a sigh of relief and really need to try to get this back into Assumption's half, which they're doing so now.
Eden Moore, Seberg, one-on-one, headed toward Assumption's goal. And it's Seberg who wins that battle, who tries to clear it back out. Here comes Assumption back to the middle, still in Assumption territory. Van Meter's Mary Kelly trying to sneak it upfield. Can't quite get it there. Good job by Assumption's defenders. It's cleared out by Ella Carreau. Van Meter will get a throw in right at the center touchline. Garrison, far corner, or far touchline, I should say. Hounded by a couple Knights. They try to kick it up ahead. It's cleared on the back line by the defender, Bonds. Back and forth we go. Both defenders on both sides kicking it right back and forth. This one's cleared up ahead by Drew Dorsey. A race to the far corner by number 25, Heather Jondal. Jondal can't get there, and we're going to get a throw-in for Assumption. Back to the back line, kicked out by Claire Kelly. Assumption starting to set up. They go to the center, and they weren't ready for it. Ella Carreau went to the center to Dorsey, and Dorsey was not ready, and it falls right into the lap of Reagan Bernhardt. And Bernhardt will kick this one back out.
Well, Carreau has certainly kicked it into a different gear here in the second half, and now we have a header that just races off the left side of the head of a Van Meter defender, and fortunate that they didn't let Assumption have it in their hat.
Both legs collide, trying to get the ball. It's Haiti Vaught who goes right back to her defender. That's Cadence Wiggin. And we're going to have a foul, and it's going to be Assumption who's going to get a free kick here on this near touch line. And I think actually they're going to give a card. It's a yellow card. A yellow card to Claire Kelly. So it's going to be looking as Kelly checks out. Assumption has it with 29:48 on this near touch line in Van Meter territory. It's a shot from right to left, upcoming by Belle Langen. IMT substitution for Van Meter, as Assumption will line up and try a goal here, and the wind is right where it needs to be for Langen. They're going to back Van Meter's defenders up. Langen will line this one up. Bernhardt sits just off the right pole of the goal. Drew Dorsey over there on near the farther touch line. Langen's kick on the way, high and long, bounces around, shot on goal, misses. Last second save by Van Meter. Somebody gets checked in the face. They go to the center, shot back on goal by Assumption, and it's knocked out by Lauren Wallace. I'm going to say that was Claire Kelly who last second came in and saved it. I thought for sure it was going to be a goal as the shot was taken by Heather Jondal, but I think Claire Kelly last second came in and saved it.
Yeah, there were a number of white shirts right there, and, man, just stretching out to be able to knock that one away. Just one of those game-saving plays, but here's a corner for the Knights.
Langen corner kick and a stoppage. I don't know if everybody was ready or if they were waiting on someone, but it's a Kruger Seeds corner kick. Learn how you can be not worry-free. Learn more about Kruger Seeds on KrugerSeed.com. First-class seed, first-name service. Justin's laughing at me because IMT. Kick on the way by Langen from the corner. Dorsey heads, but heads backwards, and it'll bounce out. And who is it touched last by? They're going to say it is Van Meter ball off a goal kick. Dorsey was leaning back as she tried to head it, and they're going to say Dorsey did hit it with her head, and it is going to be a goal kick by Van Meter with 28:34 to go in the second half. Still no scores, 0-0. Someone's bound to score. We're getting closer here, but it's looking like Assumption. Van Meter has not had much offense here. They'll kick from their own goal. That's Lindsay, and it rolls out. So Assumption gets the throw in here on this near touch line, and it's Ralstad. They center. Dorsey near touch line. She'll run to the corner, turns and fires and misses to the right. The wind carries that one past behind the goal, and another Van Meter goal kick.
That was Drew Dorsey just trying to, I think, set the table for something, but and the wind may have altered that one a little bit, but yeah, going back to your last point, Blake, it really seems like Assumption has really started to, pick up some steam here, playing with a little more confidence. But you got to give credit to Van Meter, too, because they have made the plays necessary. But at some point, they're just going to have to find some sort of a counter opportunity to try to stretch this field out.
27-16 to go here in the second half. Assumption throws in on the far touchline. Dorsey has it cleared out by Lindsay of Van Meter. Here come the Bulldogs, running back up the field. Olivia Halfpap trying to turn it to the center. Rolfstad's there along with Ella Carreau. Carreau on the touchline, back to Rolfstad. They center back to the middle. Couple Bulldogs and Knights fight for it. Mary Kelly misses. It bounces back into Van Meter territory. Far touchline. Assumption runs it up. Tries to center back to the middle. Drew Dorsey is coming up in case, but Reagan Bernhardt jumps on top of it just before Dorsey can get there. And Bernhardt will kick this one out. That's about how it's been so far today. Niji has been silent on this Assumption side goalkeeping. She has rarely seen the ball in this second half.
Well, I'm sure she is A-okay with that, especially because, it could be a little precarious out there for sure, when you factor in some of the elements. But, no, you just, you get the sense that Assumption has really had the upper hand in terms of possession. But just as I say that,
here comes the run. Eden Moore racing up to get it. Niji jumped on top of it. She lost it for a second, but just gets there. That was the best opportunity Van Meter's had this second half. Eden Moore was racing ahead. And you know what it's like if you watch soccer. The goalkeeper just got there before the leading forward could. And it's sent right back to the other side of the field by Niji. 25-20 to go here in the half. Or here in the match, I should say. Kotula throws in on the far line. It's centered. Dorsey and Rolfstad are there. Rolfstad just misses to the right. She was a little too far ahead of the goal and just misses, catches the side of the goal. But she got a great chance.
Ellie Rolfstad is just one of those solid seniors here for this Assumption team. 14 points on the season, 4 goals, just makes the heads-up play like we see there out of the goal kick, taking it away.
Bernhardt and Dorsey collide, or it was Dorsey and Wallace who collided, and it'll be a Kruger Seeds corner kick as the ball got knocked away.
Well, and if you're Van Meter, again, it's tough to give a program like Assumption these amount of opportunities.
Langen with the kick on the way. It's long, picked up on the back line, a couple headers. It's cleared out by Kelly, but stopped by Garrison. She got in the way, but it is eventually cleared out. And the corner kicks just don't seem to have much juice on them in terms of ability to score by both teams so far.
Yeah, but excellent work once again by the Van Meter defense and identifying the personnel and doing a good job of clearing it out, providing a little bit more space for their defense, and now they'll throw it in here along the near touchline just to the right of us here at midfield, and now we'll have, I think, 2 new Bulldogs enter the fray here, and again, in just about 3 minutes, we're going to have that hydration break, and that'll give these teams an opportunity once more to be able to kind of draw things up here for what's always the pivotal stretch, especially when you're at a 0-0 game at the moment.
And we saw how good that was for Assumption in the first half. Now they've been playing really well, and imagine what happens here when they get that break. So that's something to keep an eye out for. We're in the middle of the field here, 23:07. Van Meter and Assumption going back and forth. Far run out for Eden Moore up against Seaburg. Assumption back up the far touch line. Here's Drew Dorsey in the middle. She knocks it ahead. It's going to be 2-on-2. And Bernhardt hops on top of it just before Bella Langen can get there. Bernhardt has been busy.
She really has been, but she has just been so steady there between the pipes here this morning. And as we approach the noon hour, I mean, she has just been rock solid, but boy, how much more pressure can you take?
Dorsey got it over. It's saved last second by Van Meter. Let's see who's over there. That's Claire Kelly and company.
How many plays has she made here today, Blake, and especially in the second half? because, again, that was just a wide open look there for Drew Dorsey. And Drew Dorsey is someone that, boy, when you give her an inch, she'll go a mile. And great closeout there by Kelly just to really shut the door on that attempt.
Continuous action here. Near side, Catula turns and fires, tries to center. Dorsey's header just misses to the left. It was perfect, too, but she just misses the header to the left. And with 21:36 to go, Van Meter will get another goal kick once again.
Yeah, you were right, Blake. I mean, just an absolute beautiful ball from Catula, and you could see Drew Dorsey just throw her hands up in the air and looking up at the sky because she would definitely want that one back. About the cleanest header look that Assumption has really had in this match.
Katie Lindsay kicks out of the goal for Van Meter. She's been the one that, if you need to kick it far, Katie's the one to do it. Obviously the kicker for Van Meter's football program. Pretty much won them the state championship a couple of years ago on a field goal. She is a star for the Bulldogs. Middle of the field. Right now, Catula down on the near side, up to Dorsey. Dorsey and company with a little bit of a collision. Dorsey will throw in off the out of bounds. Ooh, tough collision from the back, and that's going to be a stoppage. Van Meter fans wanted a yellow card. They're not going to get it, but they will get a penalty or a free kick here. And they weren't ready. Had a couple of those. Both teams want to go so quickly here to try to get the action moving. I think we're 11. I'm surprised they haven't called time, actually. We're about 8 seconds away from 20 to go, and what we would assume would be another hydration break. Near touch line goes out, and that is it. So we have 19:56 to go. We're going to take a break as they take a hydration break. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Soccer Tournament presented by the Iowa Farm Bureau and the Girls Union Digital Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
Living your best life means something different to everyone, especially when it comes to healthcare. That's why Mercy One offers compassionate, personalized care. We are here for you with one team of experts, providing access to the primary care and highly rated specialty care you need, easily and conveniently. So go ahead, live your best life. We're with you every step of the way. Mercy One, your best life, our one purpose.
Frank, when you think Fairway, you think fresh. Is that the winning culture you've tried to create?
Penelope Pineapple, what an unbelievable produce performance. How does your team stay so fresh?
Sunkissed Orange. Is it true Fairway has offered the freshest produce in town since 1938?
What can we say? Our produce is so fresh, we're speechless.
When you choose Delta Dental of Iowa, you set a chain of good in motion because we invest in your community. So whether you get your plan at work or purchase it through us, you get more than great dental and vision insurance. You make a difference for others. Choose Delta Dental for your smile, for your health, and for your community.
Welcome back to the Iowa Girls State Soccer Tournament. Blake Walker, Hunter Phillips with you here this afternoon. Davenport, Assumption, and Van Meter. Still no score with 19:56 to go in the second half. We're getting down to crunch time. Again, we deeply apologize. We do not have video for this game. The camera that is supposed to be working is not working. We don't know if it's a capture card issue or if it's the heat or whatever, but being out here, out in the open like we never are for any of our other state tournaments, it has not been kind. Again, we deeply apologize for the inconvenience. Trust me, like I said, we want visuals as much as you do. It makes our job easier so we don't have to talk as much. Assumption clears that one all the way downfield. Reagan Bernhardt will come up and just get it before Annika Katula can get there. And Hunter, the way things are going, it's a backbreaker whoever scores this late.
Oh, it really is, because it's been just such a gridlocked match. I mean, right from the jump. But I tell you, in this second half, I mean, it's clearly been dictated by Davenport Assumption. But as we know, it just takes that one breakaway as now the Bulldogs race into the Knights half.
Eden Moore shot on goal, misses to the left. It was kicked all the way ahead, and Moore got it from the far right touchline and just misses to the left of the goalkeeper, Niji, who has, by the way, Hunter, not been very busy. And honestly, some may say, is that an advantage that she hasn't been busy, or is it a disadvantage because you just might not be up on your game? As that one's kicked out by Niji, but it's out of the touchline, and Van Meter gets the throw in Assumption territory. That's another thing, Hunter. Van Meter has not had the ball very much here in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about this half being dictated by Assumption, we mean just the overall possession, especially playing in Van Meter's half. And so, in the first half, we saw Assumption really have the upper hand after the hydration break. Maybe the roles will reverse a little bit here for Van Meter. We'll find out, but boy, just more times than not, it's been Assumption that has put themselves in better attacking positions than Van Meter. But to Van Meter's credit, they have done what it's had to take to be able to come away with the stops. But how much can you withstand?
18:07 to go. 6-seeded Van Meter, 3-seeded Davenport Assumption. The Knights lost last year in the championship game. They won 5 out of the last 6 championships here in Class 1A. An absolute dynasty built by the Knights, as we're going to have a foul on the far line. I don't know what's the call going to be. Actually, nope, it's going to be a goal kick for Van Meter. I thought maybe it might be a foul on Van Meter, but they're going to give a goal kick upcoming here, and Katie Lindsay will be the one to kick it. Lindsay's kick. Oh, go ahead.
Apologize, Blake, but just going to the overall history of this program, Elizabeth Moss certainly knows what it takes now in her 7th year, and how she's really continued the tradition has been impressive to watch as the Knights attack through the center of the box.
That one's knocked ahead. It got behind the goalie and yeets in. Bernhardt came up to save it and just couldn't get there, as Amali Yates just sneaks it by. There were 3 Van Meter Bulldogs who converged on the ball, but it was Yates who knocks it ahead, and Bernhardt was already on the ground, and it drops into the back of the net, and the Assumption Knights possibly with the backbreaker for how this game is going. 1-0 is your score. Assumption breaks through with 17:05 to go in the second half.
And you just felt like it was a matter of time, Blake. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, you can only contain so much pressure before it breaks. And, for the Knights, they're able to get that perfect ball right past the keeper, Reagan Bernhardt, and now we'll see how the Bulldogs respond.
Yeah, Van Meter comes back the other way. That's a long kick. It's going to bounce all the way over here near the goal to Katie Vaught. They are deep in the territory. Vaught fires. Just hits the top of the crossbar. It stays in bounds, though. They'll race to the corner, and Van Meter can't get there. Assumption keeps it in play. And I mean, Vaught just hit the top of the crossbar. Van Meter almost had a quick response. Wallace fighting for it on the far touchline. Now how aggressive does Van Meter stay? Eden Moore is there, and we're going to have a stoppage. And I think it's a free kick upcoming for the Bulldogs. Another thing, Hunter, I'm starting to see a lot more hands on your knees. Girls are getting tired here with 16 minutes to go.
Well, and this is the part of the match where you're just pouring out everything that you have left. And when you factor in the heat, it's going to test both of these teams and see if Van Meter can find a way to equalize it, or if Assumption can hang on.
Hallie Levi had it for a second to the far line. That's Olivia Halfpap. Halfpap turns, and it's caught. Shot on goal, just jumped in front of by Niji. She saves with 15 and a half to go, but the Bulldogs are starting to figure a little bit of offense out. Assumption will have to go to defensive mode here, as that one's kicked out by Niji, headed in the middle by the Bulldogs, Paige Garrison. Far touch line. It'll be a throw-in upcoming for the Knights. A goal with 17:05 to go here in the second half by Assumption. Breaks the tie at 0. It is 1-0 in favor of the Knights. Winner of this game gets the winner of Nevada and Bishop Heelan. And the last time I checked, it was Bishop Heelan, the 7th seed, up on top of Nevada. 1-0.
That would certainly be a big surprise. Nevada, always a tough customer, as Assumption knows when here at State. So certainly have to keep an eye out on that one.
Lindsay got a header, but it's knocked back the wrong way. It's going to bounce out of the back of the goal, or back of the line, and it'll be a goal kick upcoming with 14:22 to go for the Bulldogs. It doesn't seem like a lot of time, but I still think there is quite a bit of time left for the Bulldogs here to make a run. A couple more IMT substitutions here. Learn how you can be worry-free with IMT at IMTINS.com. All substitutions here at the state tournament brought to you by our friends over at IMT Insurance. Katie Lindsay boots this one all the way down to the touch line. It's turned upfield, and here comes Bella Bruins. Bruins is on her breakaway. She'll slow down and try to center it to the middle. Assumption got two girls there. Fighting for it is Eden Moore, and it's finally knocked out, but I think Van Meter is going to get a corner kick, and yes, they will. A Kruger Seeds corner kick upcoming. First-class seed, first-name service, and it will be a corner kick on the way here by Van Meter. It's Hallie Levi all the way over there on the far corner. She's going to be kicking to the west, and the wind is kind of pulling toward the west. Kick is on the way. Niji goes up and immediately grabs it. Didn't even give it a chance for a header or anything, and the Bulldogs can't come away with a goal. But Niji staying busy now. Now you got her on her toes.
Certainly do, and ever since that goal by Assumption, you've really seen the urgency clearly pick up for Van Meter.
But the longer you go, you're starting to see a little bit more tiredness, if you will. It's a final over there on that far field, it looks like, between Nevada and Bishop Heelan. I'm not sure who won. If I had to guess, I think Bishop Heelan got the win, but we'll have to check that as we go. This one's cleared upfield, and here comes Eden Moore. Eden Moore is going to have a one-on-one chance. Seaberg and company is there. Seaberg hits the ground, and there's not going to be a foul or anything. It was Seaberg and Moore. Bruins has it on the near line. She'll try to center. On the way. Cleared out last second by Seaberg, and here comes Assumption. I think the Knights got away with a little bit of a shove, and the crowd sure didn't like it as that one's cleared out, and Assumption will get a throw in here all the way back in Van Meter territory. It was Seaberg versus Moore, and Moore got a little bit of a push, and the crowd did not like it.
Well, and especially because Moore got called for that back in the first half, and so can certainly sense the frustration there on the Van Meter sideline, but you just got to continue to dig deep here, and here goes Moore on the run again.
Moore with the chance again. She gets it upfield. Racing after it is Halfpap. Halfpap tries to get to the corner, but it's knocked away by Rolfstad. They're right at the center line. Back and forth they go. Who's it out on? They'll give it to Assumption. 11:16 to go here in the second half. Things are picking up as Assumption leads 1-0. Katie Lindsay knocks it to the far side, or this near side for us. Annika Katula and company right there, and it's going to be a Kruger Seeds corner kick for Assumption now with 10:56 to go in the second half. Coming up after this one on field number 7, Spencer and North Scott, scheduled for a 12:45 start. Corner kick set up by Natalie Bonds. Bonds kick on the way, and it is long. Dorsey came in and couldn't quite get it there. She knocked it with her knee. It runs out of the back line, and it will be a goal kick upcoming for Davenport, or for Van Meter.
Well, I'm talking about that North Scott Spencer match. That is going to be really fun to watch, especially when you look at Spencer, the top scoring team in the state, despite class. So we're just getting started with the fun here on this Wednesday here at State.
Get the action today. You get tomorrow off. You come back Friday for the semifinals. There is boys soccer tonight at 7 o'clock, a makeup of the Class 4A boys state tournament quarterfinals, as last night they got rained out and lightninged out. So you get everything today. 9:25 to go. Van Meter has it alone on the far touchline, trying to clear it out. Assumption has it back, and I think Van Meter's offense starting to slow down just a little bit. Both teams have quite a bit of numbers, but Assumption will throw in on the far touchline. In Van Meter territory, may I add, trying to get that second and big assurance goal. Knocked out, Assumption ball, throwing in again. Van Meter, like we talked about earlier in the program, started their this soccer program as Bernhardt, it was just a weak shot on goal. Bernhardt tried to drop down to the ground and almost let it go past her. But as I was saying, Van Meter just started their soccer program in 2021. This is already their second year at the state tournament. If you're on a path like that, I'd say we're going to be seeing Van Meter here for a while. As that one's knocked ahead to Bella Bruins. Bruins has done really well here on this near line. It's cleared back upfield, though, by Bonds. And Assumption's back in Van Meter territory. Knocked ahead. A runaway for Jondal. Caught up last second and kicked out by Mary Kelly. 8 minutes to go here in this Class 1A quarterfinal. Long kick to the goal. Bernhardt was there, dropped in the middle and knocked in. A Davenport Assumption goal. It was 2-on-1 against Bernhardt, and I think it was either Rolfstead or Bonds with the goal. And Assumption leads 2-0.
Just beautiful passing right there, and it all started from the near end line, and then that's where they're able to cross it over to the left side of the box and then to the center. And yeah, just a number of black and red shirts were there and not enough white shirts. And
I couldn't quite tell the number. It might have also been Annika Ekstrom as well. It was one of the forwards, that's for sure. I know it was Jondal with the pass. But either way, it's a Davenport Assumption goal, and the Knights lead 2-0 over the Van Meter Bulldogs with 7:47 to go. Mary Kelly here with it on the near side. She'll kick it upfield to Bella Bruins. Bruins gets called with a foul. And again, the crowd not a fan of it. One thing's for sure about these officials, they got to take it because the fans sit right here along the touchline. It's the closest fans can sit of any state championship event, I should say. As I think we're going to have a substitution coming in or something. Oh, the clock. Clock is not right. Clock says 72:90 to go.
so see, even the scoreboard is having a rough time out here in the heat.
Oh, my gosh. We'll try our best to see if we can figure out the visual issue in between games. Obviously, that's not what any Assumption or Van Meter fans want to hear, but we're trying our best over here. Again, we apologize not having camera. We're not sure what the issue is, really, but
So it looks like they reset the clock here to 7:04. I think they're just trying to confirm that that is the amount of time remaining. But, going back to your thoughts, though, on Van Meter, and that, I think it's probably surprising for, a lot of people that, aren't close to the Van Meter community to think that this is a fairly new program. And just think of all of the experience that they have been able to gain just in this short period of time. And there's still a lot of young players coming up. But I tell you what, during the summer, I mean, if you're a Van Meter Bulldog fan, you're really busy because usually all the athletic teams make it to the postseason. I mean, they just have such a rich history there, and so no doubt this is a program that is on the rise, going to continue to get better. They're going to learn from this, and obviously still not over yet with just over 7 minutes to go. Yeah. But now they're going to have both teams. Looks like
go to the sideline. I mean, might as well just get a drink, but. It was 7:04 remaining. We had a clock issue, and now they've pulled the teams as Van Meter's gone to their sideline, and Assumption has made a group circle just outside the center circle. I don't know if they're just doing this because the clock stopped. They don't want them to start again, or if they're just going to leave them. I really have no idea, but we have 7:04 remaining, and over here at the table, I don't see much movement or anything where the girls' union is set up, so I don't know what we're waiting on. But Assumption's girls have now got up, and they're going to walk towards their sideline. Assumption almost is lined up like they're wanting to do handshakes, but we're not going to end the game 7 minutes early. So here comes a couple people from the girls' union over here to have a chat. I think Gene Berger's over there. I don't know what's wrong.
Again, the only indication that we had is that clearly the game clock malfunctioned.
Ooh, I wonder if someone's getting tossed. But would they have, I don't know, they're walking toward us. Yeah, they're coming over here to the fans, and I think someone might be getting tossed. Nope. Girls' union's coming over. Up. We're going to walk in the crowd a little bit. And, yep, there is a Van Meter fan that's going to come out and chat behind the tent here. So I think a fan is getting tossed, and I think that's what the... Not only did we have the issue with the clock, but I believe someone has just gotten tossed here for Van Meter. I just didn't think, do they usually stop the game for that? I don't.
Well, going back to that, one of the head officials, he had his eye on one of the fans over here, and thought maybe in the moment that maybe the magic word or words were said. Not sure, but this is something that's clearly not taken lightly. Sportsmanship is obviously a very big deal, and things get heated. No pun intended with the weather here. And obviously not the result up to this point that Van Meter wants, but yeah, it's something that the officials, if they feel like something needs to be done, clearly, like I said, anything like that's not going to be tolerated. And so just unfortunate, that had to, pause the game. But yeah, that's just for everyone back home still tuned in. That's why we're stopped, is because
they are walking that fan out, along with, I believe that's Van Meter's AD, who is also there talking. So, yeah, a Van Meter fan has been tossed from this game, so he'll make the walk.
And you talked about it, Blake, is the fact that the fans are just a few
That's
feet
the thing,
away from the touchline, and so these officials they can hear some of those comments, and so
3 yards, about 3 yards away from this near touchline. So that has been dealt with. We had the clock issue, and then a fan from Van Meter has been tossed from the game, spectator-wise. So we will resume here with 7:04 to go in this one. Credit to the IGHSAU for handling that. Unfortunately, it had to stop the game, so we'll get back going here. Assumption will get a free kick back at Van Meter territory here. Natalie Bond sends it. Look out. It's coming right toward us and misses us. That's the last thing we need, right? A ball to hit our table here. Van Meter will throw in on their own side. Centered in the middle. Assumption of Van Meter. Assumption leads 2-0 here with 6:36 to go. This one's knocked ahead. Catula racing against Claire Kelly. Catula can't get there. Clara Kelly sends back to the middle. Bulldogs looking for anything they can here to get a breakaway. They had a couple chances, actually, after Assumption's first goal. And sometimes they always say that's the best time to score because not everybody's set back. You're not ready. So that one's knocked out of the back goal line, and Van Meter will get a goal kick.
Yeah, things kind of ease up a little bit after the team nets that first goal and then maybe try to catch them off guard a little bit. But to Assumption's credit, they've been able to hang tough. And then not only that, but also add an insurance goal as well. I mean, this late into the half, just real impressed by really both of these teams, but especially Assumption and how they were just really able to dig deep and really just, I think, really set the tone here in the second half. And you just knew eventually something was going to go their way, and it did. They're at the 17-minute mark left to go here in the half.
Catula running up this near side. I'm trying to check the score of the Bishop Hill and Nevada game. That one goes wide and right behind the goal. And with 5:10 to go, Van Meter will have another goal kick. Let's see. Bishop Heelan upsets number 2 Nevada, so the winner of this game will get the Crusaders in what should be a phenomenal matchup. And looking ahead, I thought maybe Bishop Heelan and Assumption might have played earlier this year, but they did not. Assumption's losses to Muscatine, Bettendorf, Central DeWitt, and Pleasant Valley, all very good teams. That's a thing that we see common with Assumption, even in boys' sports or when they win their state championships. It sure does pay to play higher level schools in terms of class size all season long.
I mean, it really does. I mean, you know, the old adage of you rise up to the level of your competition. And even if you don't get the positive results that you want, so just that body of work, it does really pay off.
Kruger Seeds corner kick from the far line for Assumption. It misses and goes out of the back. And it will once again be another goal kick here for Assumption, or for Van Meter. Actually, no, it's another corner kick. Kruger Seeds corner kick for the Assumption Knights. I believe that's Langen over here in the corner. Kick on the way, knocked around. The header just misses upstairs. Oh my goodness, Heather Jondal headed it and it just hit the top of the crossbar and bounced out of the back of the goal. And she drops to her knees and said, "Oh, what do I got to do?" just missed it.
But there are just so many weapons on this Assumption team. I mean, they're just so deep. Everyone's versatile. And no matter if it's in the starting 11 or anyone coming off the bench, just a team that's been beaming with confidence.
Meter down this near touch line. They're deep in Assumption territory. Moore turns on it, fires to the goal, and Niji makes the grab. She's been automatic today, back in the goal. And with 3:12 remaining, she'll kick it out of her own goal.
Well, really throughout throughout her whole career, she's been really solid. But, you know, going back to the body of work, I mean, you look at Van Meter, one of their few losses on the season came to Des Moines Christian. So they, too, you know, again, program that's continuing to rise up. So that shot from Assumption goes out of play.
That shot was almost near the center circle on that far touchline. But the Knights will be going back to the semifinals to try to get back on a championship title streak. Obviously, Des Moines Christian is the team to beat. There's a long kick, drops right into Reagan Bernhardt's lap. But they don't get the 2 seed. They'll get the 7th seed, Bishop Heelan, who got the 1-0 victory over the Cubs. A lot of people thought Nevada was a little highly ranked coming into the postseason, but Bishop Heelan, the Crusaders, another team, Hunter, that faces, higher level competition during the year. It should be an interesting semifinals matchup on Friday. That game will take place Friday at 10:15 on Field 6. So if you're an Assumption fan and couldn't come out today, we recommend you come out. We hopefully promise that the camera will be working for Assumption's next game on Friday. But what a game put together by the Knights. 2 scores in the last 17 minutes of this one is going to be how this one gets out. 1:30 to go in this one.
Well, and geographically, I couldn't picture 2 schools that are farther apart from one another than those two. But, no, the fan base for both will be here in droves, and also a shout-out to the Van Meter fans as well. A lot of them making the commute here east to Des Moines, and just the fan support all in all for state soccer just continuing to grow. And, of course, our coverage is continuing to grow, and so just special to be a part of it. And what a match here to start here on Field 7. We just knew that this had the potential to go down to the wire, and it certainly did.
2 late goals by the Knights is going to be what she writes when you recap this one. Center of the field here. Van Meter will throw in, trying to get something else here to end this one. Bulldogs have a couple seniors, but they're still pretty young. Expect them to be right back here next year, along with Assumption, obviously, depending on what happens here. Drew Dorsey, just a sophomore. Here comes Assumption on a breakaway. Upfield, Ekstrom goes far. Bernhardt hops on top of it with 17 seconds to go. The Assumption fans clapping a little bit more here. And the hunt for 12 state championships is still very much alive as the horn sounds on this one. Van Meter can't quite get there, and Davenport Assumption defeats the Bulldogs. 2-0 is your score for the Assumption Knights. 2 scores in the last 17 minutes for the Knights propel them past the Van Meter Bulldogs. They will go back to the state semifinals and have a chance to go for their 12th state record title, as they will take on Bishop Heelan on Friday. Final thoughts, Hunter, as we wrap up on this one, as our first game of the day is finished.
Well, I mean, this really set the bar pretty high for the rest of the day, to be honest with you. I mean, Van Meter, I think, just was really impressive, and they played well in the first half. They had their opportunities, but Assumption, they really just set the tone, and they dictated the pace, and just you knew that they were going to break through at some points. And late in the second half, that's when they broke through, and they didn't look back. So congratulations to the Bulldogs on a fantastic season, and for the Knights, just continuing their ascent as one of the top programs in state history.
That will do it for us. Assumption defeats Van Meter 2-0 is your final score in this Class 1A quarterfinal. Assumption will take on number 7 seeded Bishop Heelan on Friday at 10:15 on field number 6. Justin Warbler, thanks on the production side. For Hunter Phillips, I'm Blake Walker. Thanks for watching the Iowa Girls State Soccer Tournament on the Girls Union Digital Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.